11 cars with the most horsepower per dollar. Hello and welcome back to MIA Luxury Cars. In this episode, we'll talk about the 11 cars with the most horsepower per dollar. You enjoy going fast, but you despise spending money. We're going to talk about the HPPD today, horsepower per dollar. More specifically, I'm going to tell you which new cars on the market today have the most horsepower for the least amount of money. So, let's get started. Toyota 86. The 86 is powered by a naturally aspirated Subaru design dual overhead cam flat 4 engine with a Toyota-developed injection system. That combination produced a respectable 205 horsepower, which is not bad for a car weighing less than 3,000 pounds. With a starting price of around $27,000, the 86 has a dollars per horsepower figure of $132. Corvette C8. The 8th generation Corvette is the hottest thing to come out of Detroit in this century. Finally, a Corvette is a mid-engine, rear-wheel drive configuration. The car that some are calling a Ferrari killer now has a new version of the LT2 V8 engine. Its a 6.2-liter displacement generates an incredible 490 horsepower. There is a slew of other really cool ones on the way. That incredible output combined with the almost unbelievable price of $59,000 yields a figure of $122 per horsepower for the C8 Corvette. What's amazing about this is that despite having to develop an entirely mid-engine platform, Chevrolet was available to keep the price of absurdly low. So how did they accomplish this? The C8 platform, on the other hand, will be used in a growing figure lineup. This allows them to spread development costs across not only current models but also future models, offsetting the cost to buyers now. There are even rumors that Chevrolet may follow in Ford's footsteps and develop the Corvette badge as its own brand, with a Corvette sedan and SUV. Civic Type R. Honda used the platform from the 10th generation Civic for the current Civic Type R, which debuted in 2017. That's the allure of creating all hot hopped up version of an existing model. Honda is also very good at creating high revving, high fun engines, so they simply used the engine from the previous generation for this generation of Type R, especially since it cost around $36,000. If you do the math, that's 122 bones per horsepower. Furthermore, the Civic Type R has long been regarded as one of the best driver's cars ever. The demand for these things is so high that people regularly pay more than the MSRP to get one. That increases the value of this boy even more. Hyundai Veloster N. This is Nolan's favorite car that isn't a Dodge. Since its release in 2019, the Veloster N has been winning awards and changing people's perceptions of Hyundais. This beast from the East with 3 doors began as a sporty, weird-looking but fun-looking economy hatchback before being tuned by Hyundai's in-house performance brand N, which is led by none other than Albert Biermann, the father of BMW M car. Uncle Al now brought a load of BMW M car knowledge to the Veloster. First, he stated that the car cost less than $30,000, which it does. It costs $29,500. Second, Biermann and the End division place a strong emphasis not only on raw power but also on the chassis and handling. The results are clear, with the Veloster N performance capable of laying down 275 horsepowers and accelerating from 0 to 60 mph in 5.5 seconds. That's 0.1 second is slower than a Civic Type R, and the Civic Type R costs around $6,000 more. That's intelligent. Camaro ZL1. The Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 produces 650 horsepower. It also costs $63,195. That works out only $97 per horsepower. And for the record, this isn't the only Camaro on the list. There are a couple of more, and one of them will completely surprise you. The ZL1 makes a more significant point. There are two types of cars that are emerging. Cars with a ridiculous amount of horsepower for a $60,000-ish price tag, and cars with modest horsepower but a lot less cost. Ford Mustang Shelby GT500. This is the fastest factory Mustang ever produced. No expense has been spared in taking the stock of Mustang, which is an awesome car in its own right, and cranking it up to 11. That's right, they turned it into 12. The supercharged version of the 5.2-liter Mustang V8 revs to 7,500 RPM and sends power to the rear wheels via a 7-speed dual-clutch automatic transmission. These are words we never expected to hear about a factor Mustang. Now, similar to the Camaro ZL1, which we previously mentioned, this isn't the highest Mustang on the list. But it does deserve a spot because it has the most horsepower of any vehicle on the list. How much is it there? How many horsepower are there? And with a price of $72,900, you can get a 760 horsepowers for $95 each. Nissan 370Z. This is the final non-American vehicle on the list. It's simply a fantastic vehicle. A chassis that is perfectly balanced. Nothing else feels like a Z, from the hairpin to the sweeper to the straightaway. The Nissan 370Z is a living legend. I mean, they've been making this car for 11 years and haven't changed anything. And you think that this is yet another example of a car manufacturer sharing components across its fleet? It stands to reason that 370Z parts were carried over from its older sister, the 350Z. But you're mistaken. Almost every component for the 370Z was created specifically for that vehicle. I'm talking about new aluminum paneling, new aluminum subframes, and a new aluminum engine cradle. With all that new stuff, you'd think it'd be pricey. Well, you're wrong. Completely wrong. The 370Z is only about $30,000. Divided by 332 horsepowers, that comes to $90 per horse. Dodge Challenger SRT Hellcat. Dodge has always defined itself by squeezing horsepower out of automobiles and selling them cheaply. And recently, the quality of interiors and other components has surpassed that of cars from Europe and Asia. The MOPAR actually is an abbreviation for motor parts. In fact, there are 3 Challenger units that cost more than SRT Hellcat: the red-eye wide body and the red-eye wide body. This issue is that none of them have a better dollar-to horsepower ratio than the SRT Hellcat, which costs around $60,695. It also has a mind-boggling 717 horsepower. That's only $84 per hour of power. And it's not like the Hellcat lacks a slew of features that the model above it do. It still has the Bilstein adaptive dampers, 6-piston Brembos up front, and 4-piston Brembos in the rear, and a top speed of 199 miles per hour. That's faster than a Ferrari F50, and the same as the Mercedes CLK GTR. That is why you purchase a Dodge. And this isn't even the cheapest and fastest car Dodge has to offer. The Charger family has a similar story, which is why the next car is also a Dodge. Dodge Charger Scat Pack. The Charger RT Scat Pack is not the fastest or most expensive Charger available, but when you do the math, you'll see that it's the best value, and you're still getting 485 horsepowers to play with for only $40,000. That equates to $83 per hour. And do you want to know something else? This Scat Pack is a fantastic addition to an already fantastic vehicle. So the next time you try to make fun of your neighbor for buying a Scat Pack instead of a Hellcat, think twice. Number 2, a three-way tie. We actually have a three-way tie for second place from the three companies you'd expect to tie in this situation. What's interesting is how differently each of them went about getting a car with this dollar to horsepower figure, beginning with the cheapest to purchase, a Chevy Camaro V6. The 6th generation Camaro was released in 2016 and won Motor Trend's Annual Car of the Year award that same year. And for good reason, over the course of 4 years, Chevy was tinkered with and refined the Camaro and its engine lineup, which ranges from the tiny little cute boy 2-liter turbo 4-cylinder to the roaring 6.2-liter LT4 V8. That thing will produce 650 horsepower. However, the Camaro V6 takes second place in a tie. It produces 335 horsepower, which is more than enough to go have some fun. You can just go out and do some skitty boys with your friends after class, and with a price tag of $27,000. That's only $80 per hour. That's right, a Camaro with a V6 is a better deal than a Hellcat. I'm as surprised as you are in this three-way tie for second place. We have Ford Mustang. This Mustang is now significantly more expensive than the Camaro. It costs $37,000, which is $10,000 more than the V6 Camaro. However, for that price, Ford will provide you with a 460 hours of service. This results in the same $80 per horsepower figure. So it all usually comes down to personal preference. You want to save some money while gaining some power, or you want to spend a little more money while gaining more power. Dodge Challenger Scat Pack. Rounding out our tie for the second is the Dodge Challenger RT Scat Pack. It has 485 horsepower and costs $39,000. Exactly the same amount as Ford and Chevy, which you may have guessed if you know what a tie means. All three American brands, a literal big three, all represented in the second place mark, tied with $80 per horsepower. But none of those matters because the slipping in under the radar, coming at our number 1 top spot, is the Chevy Camaro LT1. The Camaro SS will set you back more than $40,000. $26,000 for the Camaro V6 we just discussed. The new 2020 LT1 spec comes in around the middle at $34,995 and truly offers the best of both worlds in my opinion. If you take the Camaro V6's specification, including its lack of leather interior and adjustable ride height, and add the V8 from the SS, you get the LT1. Only $35,000 is required. That works out to $76 per hour. My Golf is a Golf CL, which is the cheapest Golf available. Every manufacturer, in my opinion, should provide this option. Give us the big boy engine without all the extraneous nonsense. That would be fantastic. And despite the fact that it has a basic options, the LT1 is polar opposite of basic. It's a lot of fun. It may lack the interior refinements and we've come to expect, but it's still a fantastic car to be in. Furthermore, its fantastic driving dynamics and more than impressive straight line speed more than compensate for any shortcomings. The LT1 is a close to putting a saddle on a V8 as you can get without breaking out your chaps. It also costs $76 per horsepower.